We're pleased to be joined now by the general manager of the Lodge Bar and Grill, Tommy Doerflinger, with us on the Oakland County Megacast. Tommy, thank you for being with us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate having you on. How are you? How's the team over at the Lodge Bar and Grill in Keego?
Wonderful. We're good. Hanging in there, doing the best we can, given the circumstances for sure.
So early on in the pandemic, a lot different kinds of struggles for businesses such as restaurants and eateries where they were shut down. They had to be by curbside or by delivery only or by pickup only. Now they're able to have more people coming into the physical building, some even outside, which has really helped a lot of local businesses. How's that process been going? How has business been now that you can have been able to have people back in your restaurant for an extended period of time, albeit at a limited capacity, while continuing those other measures as well?
Sure. I mean, it's been great, obviously, being allowed to have guests back in the building. Good morning. Obviously, it's a lot different than just doing the curbside. But having guests back in, it gets a little tricky, right, with social distancing and obviously wearing the mask through the door. But ultimately, I mean, it's been great. The support has been wonderful. It's great to see the regulars coming back in as opposed to just doing the curbside. But again, it does have its daily challenges as well.
Tommy, the Lodge is a staple in Keego and for all of us in that region. How is the takeout service? Is that business still how most people are coming to the Lodge, or is your curbside service and carry-out service starting to wane a little bit?
I would say each day is kind of different. You have certain days where our carry-out is amazing, and people just prefer to get it. I don't know if it's just the convenience factor of being it ran to the curb. There's other days where it's very slow. So it's very hit or miss. Each week is very hit or miss on the curbside. I would say the amount of guests that actually come into the building is pretty consistent. But the curbside, it just varies. It's a great thing to have. It's not going to go away. We're going to continue to do that throughout this pandemic and even afterward, just for the convenience factor. But it's hit or miss every day.
So I was going to ask that is what has changed that you think, other than carry out, you're going to continue after this pandemic, we hope, ends one day?
Sure. I mean, one of the big things that we implemented at the very beginning was online ordering. This is something that we had never had. We've been around for almost 30 years. So the online ordering is a new element that we put into place, obviously for convenience as well. And it's tricky, right? So it's something that we've never really dove into before, and being able to experience that now. So that's something that's not going to go away. Again, I would say most restaurants, bars, grills have that as an option to order. So that's something that's going to stick around forever. It's just working out the kinks and making it as convenient as possible for the guest.
Tommy, restaurants have done such great work pivoting and changing what their operations have been over the course of the pandemic. That includes putting provisions in place to help those patrons that are coming back to the physical buildings to be able to come back safely. When people go to the Lodge Bar and Grill, maybe they haven't been there in a while or since before the pandemic, what can they expect in terms of the experience that's different now than it was before?
Sure. Well, obviously, people that have come here year after year after year are accustomed to certain things. I want them to experience the same fun and excitement that they had before this ever started. Obviously, there's some changes, right? Social distancing. So our bar area is limited to, I would say, 15 bar stools instead of the 30 or 35 that we had in the past. There's 6 feet distance in between. I was kind of doing 2 at a time, and then 6 feet, 2 more bar stools, 6 feet. The dining room's changed quite a bit, pulling out some tables and chairs, and obviously you want the guest to feel as comfortable as possible and be distanced appropriately. The mask requirement through the door, it's a little bit difficult to enforce, but we do our very best to do that. So we just ask our guests to abide by that rule, even though it might be 5 feet from the door to the bar. But there's that as well. We've placed hand sanitizer stations throughout the restaurant, outside the restrooms, right in the vestibule when you enter the building. We ask, our staff is doing a fantastic job with gloves and masks and sanitation to obviously keep the guests comfortable, right? We want them to keep coming back during this time and supporting us. We're doing our very best to make them feel comfortable and have a great experience as well.
One of the things we've seen with restaurants and other businesses, the difficulty of getting employees because of the unemployment. How are you guys on that side, and are you losing college kids now that some of them are going to be going back to school?
That's a great question. It was very tricky, especially when we were just curbside. Obviously, we told the staff, hey, we're cutting down on numbers, and then once we, we're kind of getting ready to open back up, had to bring more people in. So some of the staff members decided that they were going to move on to other things, and we did have some come back. I couldn't be happier with the new staff that we have, the people that weren't working necessarily during the pandemic, but yet came to the Lodge Grill and Bar to help us out. They've been fantastic. They've got some great reviews. They have fun. It's exciting. Some of them had no experience whatsoever, so training program was big. Getting these people that have never waited tables before, or for a couple, it was their first job ever. And getting them up to speed with what we do here. So it's been fun. Yes, college semesters coming up shortly here. I do have a few that are just doing online classes, so that helps a lot, kind of frees them up to be able to keep their job here and keep pushing forward at the Lodge.
Tommy Durflinger with us. He is the general manager of the Lodge Bar and Grill with us on the Oakland County Megacast. A quick pause for station identification. To keep us legal on the radio, you're listening to us on 89.3 WBLD, Orchard Lake, West Bloomfield, Keego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, and on 88.1 WBFH, Bloomfield Hills, that is service of the Bloomfield Hills School District under the leadership of station manager Ron Whittables. Tommy, continuing on, in a lot of cases, at least in the local area, the municipalities have been extremely helpful in providing extra provisions for the businesses to be able to continue to invite patrons in and work around the capacity limits for inside the buildings by allowing expansion of outdoor areas. How helpful has your business's relationship with the city of Keego Harbor and even with Oakland County been in keeping your business alive and thriving during the COVID-19 pandemic?
Sure. Well, I know one of the things that we were offered to do by the city was more outdoor seating. So we have a limited patio space that obviously is right now with everything going on is probably the hottest spot to sit at the Lodge. Everyone wants to be outside, especially with the beautiful weather we've had this summer. We were authorized to put more tables and chairs outside into the parking lot. We decided not to do that. We have very limited parking here for the guests as well. So we kind of just limited it to the patio area that we have. But that was one of the nice things where, we were authorized to utilize the parking lot for kind of the sidewalk space to add more seating and more table space for the guests. It's just one of the things that we didn't necessarily take advantage of, but it was a nice offer to have.
So, okay, the weather, like you said, has been great. We have had a fabulous summer, but what's going to happen as we move into the colder weather months? Like, I love the Lodge, but Tommy, I'm not sitting outside when it's 0 degrees.
I don't blame you. Well, hopefully come the colder winter months, people just start to feel a little bit more comfortable. Obviously, we're going to keep the distancing inside and make it as comfortable as possible for the guests. So even though we won't be able to utilize the patio seating, hopefully by that time people will feel a little bit more comfortable and be willing to come in and enjoy what we have to offer here.
But will you be able to survive at 50% capacity if you're only indoors?
I do. I think that we would be just fine with our indoor capacity being at 50%. And then also, the curbside and carry out as well. So I'll be out there in my winter jacket and gloves and beanie and running out to cars as often as guests want to pull up to the curb. So we'll keep that going as well.
Well, Tommy, we appreciate having you on. Just another couple of minutes with you. Anything else that you'd like our audience to know about your operations? Anything else that you'd like to touch on today with us?
Sure. Again, the biggest thing is being comfortable here and giving the guests the best experience. So we're doing our very best to do that. I do want to say thank you to the city of Keego and the surrounding areas on their continued support through this pandemic. Obviously, as a business that's been here for almost 30 years, we rely on the guests coming in every day to keep thriving and doing well. And just a huge thanks. Even when we were just curbside, the amount of thank yous that we received for being open still was tremendous. It was fun. It was exciting. There were some speed bumps, but we appreciated the guests for being flexible with us and continued working with us to make it the best for them.
Tommy, real quick before we let you go, I know that before you had cut your hours. Are you back to regular hours, and what are those?
Our current hours are Sunday through Thursday, 11:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. And then on the Friday and Saturday, we're 11:30 to 10 p.m. We're going to continue those hours for now. Again, you kind of mentioned staff earlier. So with the limited staff that we do have, especially back of house, it makes sense to keep those hours for now. Hopefully, winter hours are a little bit different. People tend to come out earlier, being that it gets dark earlier. So hopefully this will get us through the winter. Then obviously come spring, we want to open up and be open as long as possible for the guests. So as long as it makes sense, we'll continue to do it. And we'll take feedback as well. So obviously we want to give the guests everything that they want and expect to.
Well, Tommy, we appreciate your time. Appreciate having you on with us today.
Thanks so much for having me, guys. Great talking to you.